to the section on digestive system of Ileum. The digestive system is well developed in pigeons, and it can be divided into the alimentary canal and the associated canal. So in this presentation, we will be looking into the parts of the alimentary canal in detail, the structure and the function of the digestive glands associated with it, and the process of digestion. Okay. Now the alimentary canal of pigeon, it is long, tubular, and coiled, and it comprises the mouth, the opening, the buccal cavity, the pharynx over here, the esophagus, the crop of the esophagus, then the stomach region over here, the Proventriculus and Gizzard, which form the stomach region, the small intestine, the large intestine, ending up in rectum and opening out through the cloacal aperture. Okay, and all the segments, the whole alimentary canal, it can be divided into the foregut region, which extends from mouth to the stomach, and then the midgut region and the hindgut region. Okay, the foregut is known as the stomodeum, and it extends from mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach. Okay, the intestinal region till this portion, it comes under the mesodeum, or the midgut or the mesenteron, and hindgut or the proctodeum includes the rectum and the cloacal aperture. Okay, now the mouth, it is the anteriormost opening of the alimentary canal, and in pigeon, mouth is a wide slit-like aperture. It is bounded by upper and the lower beak. Okay, the horny beak. Lack any teeth, and the mouth is followed by the buccal cavity. Okay, the buccal cavity, it has a tongue on its floor, and the tongue has few taste buds and mucus glands, and has the function of manipulation of food. Okay, and the buccal cavity is followed by the pharyngeal region. The posteriormost part of the buccal cavity can be referred as a pharynx, a pair of elongated apertures, the posterior nostrils. Opens in the roof of the pharynx. They are covered by palatal folds of the skull roof. Just behind the posterior nostrils opens a single median aperture of eustachian tubes, and at the floor of the pharynx occurs an oval aperture, the glottis. Okay, it is this glottis that opens into the trachea. Posteriorly, the pharynx opens into the esophagus. So pharynx is actually a region common to both the respiratory tract and the alimentary tract. Okay, the glottis opens into the trachea, which is the respiratory tract, while the pharynx that opens into the esophagus posterior to the glottis opening. Okay, now regarding the esophagus, it is unique to the birds here. Esophagus, or otherwise it is referred as the gullet. It is a long, wide, distensible, thick-walled tube that runs backward through the neck to join a large, here you can see a large, we can say it is a reservoir. It is otherwise referred as a crop. Okay, it is known as a crop. This crop is a large, thin-walled, bilobed, elastic, non-glandular sac, and it enables the birds to store quickly swallowed food for later digestion. And it is usually large in grain eating, or the granivorous, or the granivorous birds. Pigeons, it is a granivorous bird, and hence the crop is usually well developed and enlarged. Okay, the grains are moistened and softened while stored inside the crop. The epithelial lining of the crop in both the sexes, it thickens and sheds off a white, slimy, proteinaceous and fatty secretion, which is referred as crop milk. Okay, it is known as a crop milk, the whitey fluid produced by the crop. That is why it is now given the name crop milk. And this happens during the breeding season. And it is with this crop milk, the younger ones are fed by both the parents. So what happens is, the internal lining of the crop, okay, it becomes thickened, okay, and it sheds a white, proteinaceous and fatty secretion, which is referred as a crop milk. And in both sexes during breeding season, this happens. Okay, so both the sexes can actually feed the crop milk to the younger ones. Now, pigeon milk is produced by the degeneration of the epithelial cells lining the crop under the control of the prolactin hormone, and this prolactin hormone is secreted by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, which you will be learning. Even the pituitary gland, the prolactin hormone and the pituitary gland is also present in humans, so you will be learning it in your endocrinology classes. Here you can see that it is under the prolactin, under the influence of the prolactin secreted by the pituitary gland, the internal lining of the crop, okay, it starts to produce the pigeon milk. Okay, now the pigeon milk contains water, protein, fat, and lactose, and it contains 35% of fat in comparison to 3 to 5% in cow's milk. The young ones are fed with the crop milk or pigeon milk, we can say in the case of pigeons, till it can feed on its own. Okay, it is the pigeon's milk is regurgitated by the adult male and female and fed to the young ones. The crop also contains some mucus secreting glands. Beyond the crop, we can see this is the crop region, and beyond it we have the stomach. The esophagus becomes thick-walled and narrow-tubed. Okay. Now, stomach, it can be differentiated into, you can see here, the proventricular region and the gizzard region. Okay, the proventriculus and the gizzard. You can see the difference between the thickness and the shape and all. Okay. Proventriculus, it is anterior part of the stomach, and it is glandular in nature. It is small, thick-walled glandular structure that appear externally as a slight dilation of the esophagus. So it is just slightly widened than the esophagus, but it is a gastric structure. Okay, its thick mucus lining secretes the gastric juice. The mucus lining of the proventriculus, it secretes the gastric juice. Okay, gizzard on the other hand, you can see here it is slightly more widened structure, isn't it? It represents the pyloric region of the stomach, and it is large, hard, muscular, laterally compressed, having the shape of a biconvex lens. Okay. The thick walls of the gizzard have thick muscles that radiating from the two tendons. Its narrow lumen, the lumen inside, is lined by an epithelium in which are present numerous minute tubular glands that secrete fluid which becomes thick, horny, and of yellow or green color and lines the gizzard. Okay. The cavity of gizzard always contains small stones. You can see here in this case. So this is the gizzard, the section of gizzard. You can see the lumen inside, and it contains usually small stones inside. Okay, the lumen of gizzard contains stones, and these stones they are usually swallowed by the bird. That helps in grinding the food. Okay, the gizzard continues into the small intestine. Here you can see the gizzard. It continues to the small intestine, the first part of the small intestine being the duodenum. And the opening of the gizzard into the small intestine, it is controlled by, or it is guarded by the pyloric sphincter, or what is referred as a pyloric valve or pylorus. Okay. Now starts the till gizzard, it was the stomodium or the foregut. Okay, this part, the intestine, it forms the mesenteron or the midgut. Okay, it is the small intestine actually. It is a narrow tube and has a lining of endodermally derived epithelium. When we speak about the internal lining, the feature of the internal lining of the proctodium, mesenteron, and the stomodium, we can see that the stomodium and the proctodium over here, they are lined internally by the epidermal lining, while the mesenteron, it is lined by endodermal line. Okay, the small intestine, it is divided into anterior duodenum, this portion over here, and the posterior ileum. Okay, so here very coiled and longer one. So that is the ileum, right? The bile and the pancreatic duct usually open into the distal limb of this part. Okay, it is the this is the distal limb and this is the proximal limb. So it opens into the distal limb of the duodenum, right? That is the bile as well as the pancreatic duct. Both opens into the distal limb of the duodenum, right? And in pigeon, the left bile duct enters close to the pyloric sphincter. Duodenum, it arises from the dorsal side of the gizzard. You can see here, right? It opens. It starts from the dorsal side of the gizzard, so that the pyloric opening of gizzard into duodenum lies close to the cardiac opening. So this is the proventriculus, okay, and this is the gizzard, right? Then the duodenum forms a U-shaped loop, and it encloses the pancreas within. Between the two limbs, this is the proximal limb of duodenum, and this is the distal limb, and you can see the pancreas is enclosed within the two limbs. Okay, ileum, on the other hand, this very long coiled tube of uniform diameter, and its internal epithelial lining is thrown into numerous finger-like processes known as villi, and it greatly increases the area for secretion as well as absorption of the digestive product. Okay. Finally, we have the hind gut or the proctodium. The slender ileum continues into a large intestine of similar diameter. The junction of ileum and large intestine is externally marked by the presence of a pair of small conical blind pouches. It is otherwise referred as the rectal ceca, or you can see here colic ceca. Okay, these are the structures. Actually, this is the small intestine merging into the large intestinal region. So the junction is actually marked by the presence of a pair of small conical blind pouches. It is referred as a colic ceca or the rectal ceca. Okay, the rectal ceca, it probably absorbs water from digested food, and the large intestine or the hind gut, or the proctodium as we call, is a short tube, and it is comprises of anterior rectum and posterior cloaca. So the rectum and cloaca together form the hindgut region or the proctodium. Okay, rectum is narrow and is of the same diameter as that of the ileum, and it opens into cloaca. Okay, its opening into cloaca is guarded by the anal sphincter. Fine, this is the rectum, and the opening into the you can see the opening into the cloaca. It is controlled or guarded by a sphincter. Okay. Now, regarding the cloaca, this is the structure of cloaca enlarged. Cloaca is a large chamber. It is divided into three linear chambers. You can see this is the anterior part, because rectum opens into the cloaca here, and this anterior part is known as a coprodium. It receives the rectum. Okay, and then a short middle urodium. This is the urodial region, right? It's very short, and actually urodium, as the name suggests, it is into this urodium the urinary duct and the genital duct open. Okay, this urinary duct and you can see here openings of the ureters. So it is this urodium receives the duct from the urinary bladder. Urinary duct and the genital duct. Okay. Now the last one is the proctodium. This part, proctodium, it is the part of the cloaca which opens outside by way of the vent or cloacal aperture. Okay, the urinary products are made solid by the absorption of water in the urodium. So at this region, water is in the what you call urinary product. It is absorbed back into the body, and it becomes, so whatever remains inside the urodium, it will be solid. Okay, it is made solid. And walls of other chambers also serve the similar purpose. Okay, a small thick-walled glandular blind pouch of lymphatic tissue known as bursa of Fabricia. You can see here this part. Okay, bursa of Fabricia, bursa fabricia. Okay, lies on the dorsal side of the cloaca, and it is actually a glandular lymphatic tissue. Okay, and it is lined with endoderm and opens into the proctodium. And in young birds, this bursa fabricia, it forms lymphocytes, and probably it produces antibodies and protects against local infection. But in adults before sexual maturity, it degenerates. The bursa fabricia, it degenerates, and it is also known as cloacal thymus, because like thymus gland, it produces lymphocytes. Okay, and like thymus, it is prominent in young animals, usually much reduced in adult. Okay, so this is with regard to the alimentary canal and the proper alimentary canal. Okay, so we saw it is divided into the foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Okay, the different parts we have seen. Unique features with respect to pigeon, it is the presence of stones. Okay, the gizzard, the pyloric stomach, it is modified to form the gizzard, And another feature is about the cloaca and the bursa papilla. Okay. Yes, thank you.